Good day everyone, this is Gina Kyle Vlogs and welcome back to my vlog. But before we start, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, check the notification bell for you to get notified for more updated videos. For today's vlog, we are going to take you to the TREDEGAR house in Newport, Wales. We've been here in TREDEGAR house in 2014 with my husband, and now we just come back after 8 years. A place shaped by the local community, TREDEGAR House and its surrounding gardens and parkland stand proudly at the heart of Newport's heritage. The walled gardens are some of the most important early 18th century garden landscapes in Wales. Over the years, they've changed and developed as new fashions took hold, and they bloomed or suffered as the Morgan family's fortunes rose and fell. Explore some of the most impressive spaces when you visit the mansion house, from the glistening gilt room to the modest servants' hall. Step back in time as you uncover TREDEGAR House history. The mansion has seen its fair share of dark days and golden ages, from a fair place of stone to the flamboyant red brick restoration mansion you see today. Inside and out, even the walls have stories to tell. The marvel at the exquisite carvings of the oak panels in the brown room, and keep an eye out for the serpents, lions, griffins, and weird and wonderful faces. Glittering and shimmering in candlelight, this entertaining space would have glowed, filled with well-dressed dancing guests. Created using the dowry from William's marriage to Blanche Morgan, his first wife, the decor is in line with fashion of the 17th century. This room features artwork inspired by Dutch and Italian artists. It seems that the dowry money had to be stretched somewhat, however, as the paneling in this room is pine, painted to mimic expensive walnut instead of the real thing. These chairs are around 170 years old. These are whole chairs, and according to the Cabinet Maker's Dictionary in 1803, they were to be placed in halls for the use of servants or strangers waiting on business. Not the most comfortable of seats, however, they were narrow and not cushioned. Friends in high palaces in 1660s to 1680s, in which the Morgan family survived the English Civil War and emerged from the Protectorate with their influence restored by the restoration of King Charles II. In Victorian times, fans were used for relaying secret messages. In 1827, a Parisian fan maker and retailer, de Villeroy, published an explanatory leaflet. It is very likely that this secret language was invented as a clever sales technique, helping to bring fans back into fashion after the French Revolution. The 17th century rooms bedazzled by the glistening gilt room and retrace the dancing footsteps of the Morgan family in this glorious entertainment space. Visit the new parlor and take turns playing games, create your own stories with shadow puppets, or dress up as one of the Morgans. John was the fourth son of William Morgan, the builder of the TREDEGAR house. In 1716, he stamped his mark upon the house by the commissioning and installation of the Edney gates, which you can see through the window. His marriage to Martha Vogue doubled the size of the estate. Everything was in place. The estate was booming, but his health failed. He died in 1719. Detail of Idney Gates showing the monogram of John and Martha Morgan. These archived photographs from the 1980s are an intriguing glimpse into the construction of this detailed room. You can see how they fit together as a puzzle in different sections. These would have made them easier to carve, transport, and install. There is even a possibility that some could be moved around the room, changing the sequence of carvings. Racing ahead in 1710s to 1760s, in which the Morgan family gained ground in the influence stakes by a good marriage and a knighthood, but fall at the first hurdle through an early death and a long court case. It is clear that William Morgan intended for this mansion house to be a statement of wealth and importance both inside and out. This formal dining room was designed to impress distinguished guests with its elaborate oak carvings. It still surprises how visitors to this day. It is thought that perhaps the faces depicted are representations of real people from the time. The overall scheme reflects spring. Instruments from steam yacht Liberty, which belonged to Courtney Morgan. The telescope, barometer, and clock were purchased by Henry Horace Smith, valet to Courtney's son, Evan Morgan, when the yacht was broken up, purchased with thanks to the friends of TREDEGAR House. The items that are found here are the clock and barometer, metal ashtray from the Liberty, a brass button from a uniform on the steam yacht Liberty. Lady Rosamond was the Victorian matriarch of TREDEGAR House, married to Charles Morgan, Robinson Morgan. She instilled in her 11 children the importance of philanthropy, a sense of duty and responsibility. She regularly took part in public life in Southeast Wales. Charles Rodney, her eldest son, died in January 1854. Just a few months later, her next two eldest sons, Godfrey, who later inherited the estate, and Frederick, fought in the Crimean War. These areas are a medal cabinet. Under Godfrey Morgan is Crimea Medal, the Order of the Mejidi in 1855, the Turkish Crimean Medal, the Victoria Jubilee Medal in 1897, and the Medal of the Pacification of Hungary, a Russian Empire medal found by Godfrey on the battlefield during the Crimean War. Medals under Frederick Morgan: the Crimea Medal, Turkish Crimean Medal, and the Victoria Jubilee Medal in 1897. This space has been a drawing room, a drinking room, and then a morning room, as it is known as today, possibly also at times a small library and an office. The parties over in 1950s, in which the Morgan family finally leave the stage as aristocratic influence wanes and the great houses decline or disappear, and the saga concludes in Monte Carlo Harbor and the casino. The family wealth had already been seriously depleted by the levying of death duties in 1931 and 1934. The extravagant lifestyles of Courtney and Evan did little to ease their plight. John Morgan in 1908 to 1962 was the last Lord TREDEGAR and owner of the TREDEGAR estate. He inherited in 1949 after the death of Evan Morgan and the estate being promptly passed on to him via his father to avoid further death duties. In 1951, John Morgan sold the house, collection, and surrounding estate, retiring to the tax haven of Monte Carlo. By 1957, almost all of the Morgan estates had been sold. John also deposited the TREDEGAR estate papers with the National Library of Wales. 5 years later, John Morgan died in Monaco without heir, signaling the end of the Morgans of TREDEGAR. This is it for now. Thank you everyone for watching. See you on the part 2 of the TREDEGAR house. Bye!